Greetings, Stars fans. This is the Two Brothers Mic'd Up show. If you didn't know, we sit down, play a game of NHL, talk about the recent Dallas Stars game. It is game 55. We're going to sit down, talk about it, discuss it, give it to you right here on the internet. The Dallas Stars played the Blackhawks. Stars win 4-2 in the Windy City. Let's go into the predictions as usual for we starting off each video from the previous video, so always stick around. Quinn, you liked a score of 5-4 if the Dallas Stars were going to win, and you like a score of 5-1, a repeat from last Saturday for the Chicago Blackhawks if they were going to come on top. I liked a score of 3-1 for Dallas and a 3-0 score for Chicago. I felt it would be a little bit of a tighter game, but with the way that first period opened up, it looked like it was just going to be an all-out slaughter. Let's go down the scores of the match. We have Patrick Eaves, Klingberg, Patrick Eaves, and then Patrick Eaves, all in the first period. The first Dallas Star to record a hat trick in the first period. Let's stop right there, and then the way the game started, Quinn, how did you like it? You saw that Kari was getting the start. Talk about how you liked the start of the game and what you felt whenever you heard that Kari was getting the start.
Well, I feel that Dallas Stars saw a little bit of confidence in Kari's game in the Minnesota whenever they played them. And they figured, you know what, let's take a chance. Let's just put him in net, you know. Hasn't Niemi started the last two games against Chicago?
Yeah. He won one and lost one.
Lost one, so they probably were like, you know what, let's just leave Kari in. He played good in the Minnesota game. Kept him in it, so let's give him the chance. And then that first period just made my heart feel so good.
Yeah, with the Patrick Eaves scoring like the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it's a feeling I haven't felt in a while.
Yeah, that first period is probably the best. That's probably the best period of hockey they've played since like Christmas. Whenever they played against Chicago in that first victory. So talking about Kari, it kind of seems like because for like 3 weeks we saw Niemi get the bulk of the starts, and you know we kind of said, well, that's the clear thought that Niemi is going to get the bulk of the starts from here on out and should get the more difficult starts because Kari just seems so fragile, and it's not like he was mopey, really. It just felt like he needed a lot of extra effort to really get into the game. And with the Minnesota game, I thought, you know, he did play pretty well, and he gave up maybe a couple softies. You know, that last goal of his, I wouldn't fault him at all. But, I mean, he really felt strong and looked strong from, like, that third period in Minnesota where he was getting all those big saves. But now it seems like Ruff was like, going back to, like, the beginning of the season, we were saying, like, we're going to ride the hot goaltender. You know, whoever has a bad period or a bad game, the next one comes in. You know, that's just how they felt they were going to ride it out until they found a clear-cut starter. And it looked like they had a clear-cut starter. But do you think with the 2 wins that Kari got on the road, does that throw a stick in the spokes of the Dallas Stars bicycle?
I mean, you could say that, but I still feel Niemi is still the clear-cut victor right now. Just looking over the games that they've played, everybody knows, who's a Stars fan, knows Kari's tendencies, that he is red hot for like 3 games, and then he just absolutely sucks for the next 7.
Yeah.
So I think that they should, you know, break it down a little bit more. Maybe maybe give Kari the start against Washington, and then after that, just go back to Niemi.
Yeah. Here's a thing that I wrote down in my notes after that game. Kari Lehtinen looked like the best goaltender in the league last night. For one night, Kari looked like the best goaltender in the league. He outdueled Crawford. Crawford could not handle what Dallas was throwing at him. Do you think Kari was the best goaltender last night in the league?
I wouldn't say in the league. But I mean,
Well, for all the teams that were playing last night, do you think Kari was the best one?
I mean, I really don't have any other stats of any other goalies, so I'm just going to say yes.
Well, it just felt like the way Kari played in this game, because both of those goals, the one from Kane and then the one off of Shaw, especially the Shaw one, was really fluky. The one from Kane,
it's Patrick Kane.
I guess he could have stopped it, but I won't fault Kari for that one. So he gives up 2 goals, but those goals weren't his fault. So in actuality, let's say he gave up 1 goal. And I think playing against Chicago at home, they're one of the best, arguably the best team at home. I mean, he just looked so good. And I know we've been down on Kari because even in the last video, we were like, he's hot and then he's cold. He's hot and he's cold, and he has these streaks to where
like a Katy Perry song.
Yeah, he has these streaks that, you know, are just so mind-numbing to think like, okay, we see what Kari can do, and then he'll just have that streak to where you're like, please do not start him. And it's not like I'm going back on what I said in the previous video. It's just, this is what we were talking about. Kari gives you those glimpses that he can be a great goaltender, and then just out of the blue, he'll flip a switch. So I'm excited from what we saw from Kari, especially like all the big saves that he did in Minnesota. Without him in Minnesota, we lose that game. Now, in this game, do we lose that game without Kari?
I mean, it could go either way. You know, I mean, you always want to hope for the best, but you can never really say, because, you know, if you put Niemi in, Stars get on the board with their 4 goals, but then that third period, you know, would Niemi have handled it the same way as Kari would have?
Yeah. And it might just be because Kari's the more rested goaltender, that he was able to withstand the just straight domination from the Blackhawks in the third period. Because, I mean, let me see, like the final shot total in the third period, 21-2. Now, someone will say that and be like, holy crap, 21-2? Like, the Stars must have really crapped the bed on that one. Not necessarily. That's what you call the turtle method, is where you're up so much that you just play a defensive game. I, for one, do not like the turtle method at all. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but let's go through the first period's goals. You see a broken play from Jamie Benn off Hosa's skate that goes all the way to Patrick Eaves, and without even really thinking about the shot, Eaves just puts it up. He elevates it over Crawford's ear in the one spot he had to hit to score, and he hit it. Klingberg just kind of doesn't really float the backhand towards the net, but he does put a backhand on, and it looks like it's going wide, but it hits Hjalmarsson in the shin pad and goes 5-hole. It was just one of those nights where it just wasn't a good night to be a goaltender for Chicago. Like, Crawford just could not stop anything. I mean, he made some decent saves when he needed to, but he got caught off guard a lot. And he didn't have the bounces go his way, so that hurt him a lot. So we get Patrick Eaves on, and this is a game that the Stars finally break the streak to where they don't take the first penalty. That was nice to see. And, like, I honestly think, like, I keep track of that stat because take the first penalty, you lose all that momentum. That's 2 minutes out the door, unless you're Chicago playing against Dallas in Dallas and you scored 2 goals. But it was good to see that the Stars were able to capitalize on both power plays in the first period. I don't think they went back on the job. No, both power plays were in the first period, and they scored on both of them. That's the second Patrick Eaves goals was that nice feed from Tyler Seguin. And that's the second game in a row that Tyler Seguin has set up Patrick Eaves with a nice save. Because we saw that in Minnesota with that crazy backhand no-look pass to Patrick Eaves. And Patrick Eaves does not take any kind of wind-up. He just whips it on net. And we see him score the goals that he's known to scoring. Not a lot of wind-up. Elevates it, gets it on the net quick. And it was pretty, too, because Eaves was coming, like, through the slot, and it was like a drive-by. Like, Seguin knew where to put it, and Eaves, in all one motion, like, turns his body a little bit and just chips it over Crawford. Crawford wasn't ready.
That's the benefit you get out of Patrick Eaves is, that guy is a worker. He's a workhorse. He doesn't score pretty goals. Well, besides this game, but I mean, a lot of his goals, are the result of work. He gets himself open, he gets himself to the passing lane, and he's got a wicked shot that he just, like you said, he doesn't need a wind-up. He can just snap it home.
Yeah, you can tell that he's worked on his shot a lot since coming to Dallas. And then that third goal, like 19 seconds left in the period, some may call that a garbage goal, but I call it a hat-trick goal. Patrick Eaves is the first Dallas Star to score a hat-trick in the first period. Mike Modano never did it. Sergei Zubov never did it. Yuri Letnin never did it. Brett Hull never did it. All these big names that you would think that, wow, Patrick Eaves is the first one to do it. Tyler Seguin's never done it. Tyler Seguin's done it in the second period against the Flyers, but Patrick Eaves is now a record holder in Dallas Stars history. And like they were saying on the broadcast, that's his second hat trick. His first one came when he was playing for Detroit, and he got it against Dallas. So that it's very cool to see it like come like full circle. Not full circle. It would have been nice if it was against Detroit that he was playing with Dallas, but it was nice to see Patrick Eaves really get the hat trick and the recognition of the beard. God, that beard is just nice. And then let's talk about like towards the mid of the period with the Sharp tribute and the Oduya tribute. We didn't get to see the Oduya tribute because they went to commercial break, but we had that what looked like would have been a good scrap, and we were just talking about this in the last game. Like, we need more grinders, and Travis Moen steps up to fight some spare on Chicago. I'd never even heard of him. Mash Hinter, I guess that's his name. And I don't even think we saw him after that. No, he had like 8 minutes of time. So, I mean, he was no factor. He was there to just do what he tried to do. And then Moen got hurt in the third period, I guess. But, yeah, we were talking about that in the last video about how no one was stepping up, no one was trying to fight, no one was trying to get in the face of the opposition, and Travis Moen, that's what he does. And for the refs to kind of break it up like that was a bit weak. But then we got to see the Patrick Sharp tribute that they didn't go to commercial break. What did you think of the tribute?
It was good. That's all I really got to say about it. It was good.
It was good. I thought it was nice. I thought it was a nice tribute. Like, Patrick Sharp spent 10 years in the Chicago. I honestly didn't think it was that long. Like, I knew he played for the Flyers, but I thought he at least put 100 games in with the Flyers, but I think he only had like 66 games with the Flyers. I didn't realize Patrick Sharp was there for 10 years. So it was nice to see that he got like a 3-minute long tribute because he was there for all 3 Stanley Cups. And then Johnny Oduya, I think, got like a small little tribute because he was only there for 4 years, but he got 2 cups with him, and so it was nice to see. And Patrick Sharp getting it on his 800th game in the game tonight. So that was nice to see those kind of tributes. Going into the second period, it was what overall for the first period, what kind of review would you give for it? Like, what did you see and what did you like and what did they do differently?
It actually worked. Like, I feel that I don't know why they decided to play like they are in that game, and they don't play like that in any other game, because that's probably the hardest we've seen them work in the first period and probably since the beginning of the season. And like I was telling you, like that kind of makes me upset. Like, to see our team that has the potential to play like this
without Spezza
at any given time, but just because it was Chicago and they want revenge, now it's time to work hard, get 4 goals in the beginning. Like, I'm happy it happened, don't get me wrong, but it's just kind of like little aggravating to see that they're just now doing this when they could have been doing it a while ago.
Yeah, it is frustrating, especially with like last video we were talking about, is this the true Dallas Stars with the Minnesota Wild, with them scraping along, and then you get a game like this. Now, in the last video, we weren't talking about, sell your Stars stock because your team is a scraper, but you get games like this, and it gives you that hope. It gives you that feeling that this is what we were experiencing in the beginning of the season, and should we be getting these games if it's not going to be consistent with the work that they're giving us? Because we went so long without the work and we weren't getting the results, but it seems when they put in the work, we get the results. So I know what you're saying is that it is frustrating to see this game, but damn, is this not a good win? Just why couldn't they do this when we were at the game last Saturday against Chicago? Going into the second period, not a lot to really talk about. The Stars hang on, and they realize that they have that lead going into the game. And the Blackhawks change goalies. They go to Scott Darling. But it was more of the same. The Stars put in work. They were getting pressure. They weren't forcing the passes that we were talking about in earlier videos. And everything just seemed to click. Everything was going right. Like, you even saw that fantastic outlet on the fourth line with Fiddler and everybody, and they just get out of the zone effortlessly, and everything was clicking. So, I mean, what did you like about the second period? I mean, it had to be just more of the same.
I mean, they played Chicago evenly. Yeah. I think that's the best way you can play it. They played them evenly because,
And the shots were 12-12. I mean, they were even, so Chicago was giving some effort back. But, Kari was there to stand tall. But, yeah, you're right. They were putting in the work. They played them straight up. But going into the third, now, this is where the game got a little frustrating because the Stars just have never had that cutthroat mentality of finishing off an opponent, especially in the third period. The Stars just don't want to seem to give you that full 60 minutes. Like that third period, again, you go back to the shots that were on, it was 21, and in these stats, it's 21 to 2. And a lot of people will see that and be like, oh my God, there's no way Dallas can just go a period like that. But that's only because, one, the Stars were up 4-0. Well, halfway through the third period. And two, well, actually, no, they were up 4-1. So the Stars still had that lead and were still clamoring for the win. And two, the Blackhawks like pulled their goalie with like 3 minutes left, so they're just doing an all-out blitzkrieg. But it's that turtle method that you see with teams that go into full defense that I would like to see the effort that they put into the first and second whenever they had the charge. They led the cavalry down and gave it to Chicago. Why not just keep that up against Chicago? Because they didn't have an answer for it. You clearly saw that Chicago did not have an answer for the push that the Stars were giving. Why not give the push the full 60 minutes? Like, do you see any kind of like real reason, like good reason to go into the turtle method in the third period when you're up like that?
Well, my whole understanding of the turtle method is you basically hit it on the head, but I feel if the Dallas Stars are going to resort to this method, you need to really know your opponent, and you need to know what they're like in the third period. Because against a team like Chicago, you don't turtle Chicago. Chicago will break through that defense with an all-out, relentless attack, like they showed in the third period. They power loaded the front line with Taves and Kane up there now, and Shaw. He's gonna get to the front of the net. You're not gonna stop him. He's gonna get to the front of the net. Kane has the hands, and Taves gets that. As soon as he's in the face-off circle, it's Chicago's puck.
That's a big thing too. Is that Taves was just unbeatable in face-offs. It's unreal to see how good he is at face-offs, especially on that Kane goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you think about it, think of two like heavyweight boxers, and one boxer just gets up on him, and he wants it to go to decision because he got like the first like 8 rounds. But that's still a professional boxer against you, and if you sit back, say it's like Mike Tyson, you can't really turtle on Mike Tyson because he's going to just uppercut, jab, jab, jab. He's going to break through your defense, and you just have to try to withstand it. And I don't like that method. I really wish the Stars would have just kept the push, kept the effort onto the Hawks. Look, that is the only negative part about the game, is that they just didn't give a full 60. Now, both of us are ecstatic over the win, and I will take that kind of win any day of the week. But with this win, it only kind of clouds up the goaltending situation, because now I think there is a dilemma. I still think Niemi is the number one goalie, but I think the rope that Niemi built just got pulled back just a little bit. Niemi did not have a great game against Chicago, but that's against Chicago. Now, if he didn't have a great game against Carolina or somebody else, I think the goalie situation would be a little cloudier. But because it was against Chicago, I think Niemi still has that number one goaltender situation. But like you, I think I do agree. Let's give Kari the start. The way he played in Minnesota in the third period and the whole game he played against Chicago. Let's see what he can do against the best team in the league right now. Let's see what he can do. And you know what? If he has a bad period, get him out of there. Let's go into the ratings for this game. What did you give a rating for this game?
I gave a solid B rating out of this game.
A B?
Yes. Mainly because, like you said, I don't agree with the turtle method. And if you do want to use the turtle method, you need to pick your opponent wisely. Because that third period could have easily turned into a win for the Chicago Blackhawks with the way that they were playing. They were pressured. They were coughing up pucks. Bad passes were being made. But the Stars held somewhat together, stopped them, and they came out with a huge win.
Yeah. B seems a little harsh. From my taking, I gave an A
harsh, man.
I gave an A minus, and because of the A minus, I thought about a B plus because of how that third period went. But the third period was by design. That's what the Stars wanted to do, and they were able to hold on. So, in a way, it worked. Do I want to see it again? No. I thought Kari was great, and to see hat-trick Eves really, step up in that first period and really take home the win for the Stars, I think it deserved an A minus. The Stars in Game 56 on Saturday, they play the Washington Capitals. What kind of ratings do you have, or what kind of predictions do you have for that one?
I'm gonna say, if Washington wins, it's gonna be 3-2, and I'm gonna say 2 goals by Ovechkin. And if Dallas wins, I will say 4-3. And I feel this is a game that Jamie might get his stride back, and I'm gonna say 2 goals by Jamie.
2 goals by either captain.
Mm-hmm. I feel like
for the winning team, or do you think Jamie and
I feel like either one of them will get 2 goals. Period.
Interesting.
Just because these two teams are very reliant on their captains, and I think this is going to be a very captain-heavy game.
Yeah, the Dallas Stars have always played good. They've had they've had the Washington Capitals number for like the past 2-3 seasons. On the sheer fact that the Stars play against Washington so well, I like a score for Dallas of 4-2, just like this Chicago game. And if Washington breaks through, I think it'll be kind of bad. I like a score of 4-1 for the Washington Capitals. So, that's the discussion. Be sure to subscribe, share, like the video, leave any kind of feedback down below. Remember, this is a show for fans, by fans. And, as always, tune in next time.